My big bro is in the mafia, you know. He tried to intimidate my husband by hinting at the presence of his mafia brother. But my husband, with a calm demeanor, retorted back to such threats. Enraged by this, the punk splashed wine on my husband. Our much-anticipated date was ruined. I stayed silent because I didn't want to get involved, but I couldn't overlook my husband being insulted like this. Afterward, the punk found himself in a situation where even crying and apologizing wouldn't be forgiven, regretting his actions. My name is Sally. I got married to John this spring after dating for 3 years, and we're enjoying our blissful newlywed life to the fullest. John is my prideful husband. With his handsome looks, standing tall at 6 feet 2 inches, long limbs, he's what you'd call a hunk that makes heads turn. But what makes John my prideful husband isn't just his appearance. He understands me the most, takes on the role of a homemaker in my busy schedule, and manages the household chores. And above all, he's incredibly kind. Always putting me first, caring for me. John truly is a prideful husband, and I believe there's no one else like him. John says the same thing to me too. There's no one else as wonderful as you. If others heard it, it might sound like mere sweet talk, but the two of us believe we're a good couple who respect each other. It was a joy to sit around the dinner table every day with my proud, kind husband. I thought I might cause trouble by marrying him, but I had decided to walk with him for life. In place of my busy work schedule, John resigned from his job and devoted himself to being a homemaker. He supports me without a hint of complaint, cheering me on as I work hard. And when I finish work every day, he welcomes me with a warm smile. John is my pillar of support. And I always want to be his support too. On days when I come home late, he waits for me, cooking dinner. Cooking, which I was not good at in the beginning, has improved so much that I could probably open a restaurant now. Just hearing him say welcome home with a gentle smile when I'm tired from work makes all my fatigue vanish in an instant. And imagining him earnestly cooking for me fills me with joy and love. Thank you again today, John. You've become too good at cooking. It's incredibly delicious. I used to be bad at it at first, but lately, it's been fun. I realized that I'm more suited for this than tapping away at a computer for work. It's enjoyable to plan the menu every day, thinking about how to make Sally spend her days in good spirits. I'm happy. Thank you. But ain't it tough for you every day when I come home late? You could go to bed earlier, you know? It's okay. I want to have dinner with Sally, and I feel lonely if I don't see her face. Eating alone is lonely, you know? Yeah, you're right. I'll do my best to finish work early so I can come home sooner. Thank you so much, as always. While saying such things, it was happiness to stuff my cheeks with John's homemade cooking. But deep down, I worry that John might be pushing himself too hard, so I say it's okay for him to go to bed earlier. Even if I say that, he'll probably still wait for me to come home. With those thoughts in mind, I eat the macarons prepared for dessert and sip the warm tea brewed by John after dinner. Macarons, homemade? Yeah. Surprising, right? It was easier than I thought. Making sweets is fun. Feels like I discovered a new talent. Saying that with a smile while efficiently clearing the dishes, John is a genuine homemaker. Then I take a bath in the one John prepared and slip into the neatly made bed. Even though it must be tough every day, he handles the housework perfectly. And without showing a hint of fatigue, he takes care of me. Thanks to John, I can come home late from work and sleep soundly to recover. My tired body and mind are refreshed by the morning. Truly, thanks to John. I'm really grateful. Working hard, I wish to continue this happy life with John forever. When I wake up in the morning, I already smell the good aroma of coffee from the living room downstairs. On the table are sunny-side-up eggs, sausages, salad, soup, and nicely toasted bread. It's ordinary, but home-style breakfast I requested. John notices me and greets me with a refreshing smile in the morning. Good morning. Did you sleep well? I slept like a log. I appreciate you making breakfast every morning, but isn't it tough? Did you sleep well, John? It's okay to take it easy sometimes, you know? It's fine. I do it because I enjoy it. Come on, dig in. I put lots of veggies in the soup, so it's packed with nutrients. With that, we take our seats and have breakfast together. John always works so hard for us. I wonder if there's something I can do in return. As I sip coffee, I ponder over it. Come to think of it, we haven't had a leisurely meal together outside in a while due to my busy schedule. Hey, John. How about we go on a date this Saturday? Let's revisit that sushi place we haven't been to in ages. That sushi place is where we used to go often even before we got married. It's a cozy little French restaurant with reasonable prices and a relaxed atmosphere, perfect for spending time together. John has always been fond of food there. That sounds great. I'd love to go back. But are you sure about work? You're not pushing yourself too hard? I also want to go out together after so long. Work is fine, I can adjust. When I say that, John beams with a childlike smile. Seeing that smile makes me happy, and I can't wait for Saturday to come. And then, the promised Saturday arrives. I finish up my work early in the morning to ensure I can leave on time, and I manage to get home by 5 p.m. You're home early. I'm getting ready too, so just hang on a sec. I've been looking forward to it so much, I worked hard since this morning. Our reservation is at 7 p.m., so take your time getting ready. I relax in the living room while waiting for John to finish getting ready. It's been a while since I last styled my hair. Feeling a bit nervous. It really has been a long time since we went out together. I'm always busy, sorry about that. But today, you can eat all the French you want. Really? Yes. I'm already decided on what to order. I'm so excited. Despite such innocent remarks, John, who had styled his hair neatly for the first time in a while and dressed in stylish outing attire, looked so cool and sophisticated that even his wife, me, couldn't help but admire him, giving off an aura of a mature man. Sorry for making you wait. Shall we go? Since we still had some time before our reservation, we took a leisurely walk to a scenic spot near the sushi restaurant. It really has been a long time since we've been out together like this. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. You apologize too much, Sally. I know you're working hard at your job, so I want to support you. Thank you, John. But I still want us to go out on a date like this once in a while. Yeah. As we talked like that, we laughed together. While spending time together at home is always enjoyable, going out on a date after a long time felt refreshing and exciting. As the reservation time at French restaurant approached, we headed there. We had a reservation under the name of Smith. As soon as we opened the door of the sushi restaurant, we heard loud voices and coarse laughter coming from inside. Man, that's hilarious. You're crazy, man, seriously. Indeed, while this restaurant is small, it had a somewhat populous atmosphere. But we had never encountered such noisy customers here before. Thinking it unusual, and not wanting to get involved, we were shown to our table without looking in their direction. Hey, where's the wine? I asked for more. I'm sorry, please wait a moment. We've been waiting, hurry up. Such a rude attitude. It seems the ones causing the commotion are some hoodlums. 3 young men with flashy hairstyles and visible tattoos on their arms. I discreetly observed them, intending not to get involved or attract their attention. Hey, waiter. Order. Hurry up, we're not patient. We can get scary if you make us wait, you know? Seeing the rude hoodlums, I already felt uncomfortable, but since it was a date today, I tried not to let it bother me. John seemed completely unfazed, his eyes sparkling as he gazed at the menu on the wall. "What should we order?" As John said that and looked at the waiter, his gaze accidentally met one of the hoodlums. "Hey, you just looked at me, didn't you? Hey, you got some problems?" It was the worst turn of events. The hoodlums, who seemed to have had quite a bit to drink, started to harass John. But John ignored them and called the waiter. "Excuse me, can we place our order?" Angered by his attitude, the hoodlums stood up and approached, surrounding John and me. "Hey, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf or something? You looked at me earlier, didn't you? Do you have any problems?" These unsophisticated, ill-mannered hoodlums were truly a hassle. While silently hoping not to escalate the situation, I remained quiet. John calmly addressed the hoodlums. I was trying to place an order with the waiter, so I looked in their direction. "What's the problem?" "What's the problem? You looked at me, didn't you?" "I think you've misunderstood." While speaking, John continued to gaze at the featured menu on the wall. Seeing John's demeanor, the hoodlums grew angrier but remained rooted to their seats. "Hey, you, don't try to act tough just because there's a lady. Please keep your voices down, you're disturbing other customers. Could you be quiet?" John spoke with a firm tone. Seeing John showing no signs of fear, the hoodlums became even more irritated. "Hey, who are you talking to? You think you're tough, idiot? My brother's in the mafia, you know. If I tell him about this, you might end up at the bottom of the ocean." I thought to myself that the real idiot was him, but I didn't want to escalate the situation, so I kept quiet and watched what would happen next. John sighed in exasperation. "Well, what? What did you say, you punk? Your brother's in the mafia? So what's that got to do with anything? Scared? Maybe your brother's in the mafia and scary, but what about you? Aren't you embarrassed? Accusing us in the restaurant and then trying to threaten us with your mafia brother? I'm talking to you right now. Your brother being in the mafia doesn't intimidate me at all." The atmosphere in the room froze for a moment. The stares of other customers and staff were fixed on us. And as expected, the hoodlums erupted in anger. Face turning red, one of them grabbed John's collar, seemingly about to strike. "Hey, you, apologize for what you just said. Get down on your knees right now. If you do that, I might forgive you. Hurry up." The hoodlum shouted at John loudly. However, John showed no sign of fear and calmly responded. "Just resorting to violence because you can't argue back. That's not how it works. It's clear you're not very bright. We just want to eat, so could you please go somewhere else?" At that moment, the enraged hoodlum released his grip on John's collar and grabbed a nearby bottle of wine, pouring it over John's head. "You, seriously, don't get cocky. I don't care what happens. I'll tell my mafia big brother. Even the girl with you will get a taste of it, you punk," the hoodlum said, glaring at John, who was soaked with wine, his face turning red. Despite the threats, he seemed determined to somehow force John to apologize. However, John remained unperturbed by the hoodlum's intimidation tactics. "Ah, wine really makes a mess, huh? I wore my favorite outfit and now it's all wet. But at least wine stains don't set, so it's okay." Unable to stay silent any longer, I handed John a handkerchief and then stood up. "Hey, what's your name? And your brother, which mafia is he from? Are you gonna call him now? What? Who are you? Are you out of your mind? What do you want with my name? Well, whatever. My brother's also a well-known mafia around here. You know him, right? His name's Tony. You've heard of him, right? I haven't. So why don't you call him then? What? Are you stupid or something? I said call your mafia brother now. My sudden change in tone surprised the hoodlum momentarily, making him quiet down. But soon after, he retorted, "You're the crazy one here." "Fine. I'll call him. But even if you two cry and apologize, I won't forgive you. Just brace yourselves." A truly uncouth and foolish hoodlum. What was supposed to be a fun sushi date ended up ruined because of them. Above all, I couldn't forgive them for disrespecting my dear husband and dousing him with wine. "You better not think of running away. I won't let you off the hook," the hoodlum continued to provoke. "You really have no manners, do you? It's embarrassing. If you hadn't poured wine on my husband and just left, none of this would have happened." "Huh? Shut up already. Pretending to be tough now won't last long. Soon enough, you'll be crying and begging for mercy." I couldn't help but think how foolish he was, but I was too exasperated to say anything. As we waited for the hoodlum's brother, I made a call as well. "Hello? Yeah, it's me." "Right. I think you already know what's going on." "Hey, who do you think you are, making calls without permission?" "Yeah, you heard that, right? Okay. Well, nothing I can do about it. We'll be waiting," I replied before hanging up. A few minutes later, the hoodlum's brother, Tony, arrived at the scene, panting heavily as he entered the restaurant. Seems like he was nearby and rushed over. "Hey, big bro. Over here. Listen, these guys were disrespecting me like crazy. Teach them a lesson," the hoodlum reported with a grin. However, as Tony approached his brother, he suddenly punched him in the face with an intense expression. Caught completely off guard by the punch from his own brother, the hoodlum, who hadn't even attempted to defend himself, was sent flying. The impact sent the chairs tumbling and a bottle of wine from the table crashed onto the floor, shattering. Realizing we were causing a disturbance, I quickly apologized to the staff and handing over all the money in my wallet. "I'm sorry for all the fuss. I don't need change." With that, he bowed his head and handed over all the bills in his wallet. "Let's take this outside," I said firmly, prompting the hoodlums to reluctantly follow Tony outside. Once they reached a secluded spot, Tony spoke up. "I'm truly sorry for the trouble." The hoodlum, who had been boasting in Tony's presence, was now gaping in bewilderment as his brother bowed deeply and apologized profusely, clearly not understanding what was happening. "I hate uncultured fools," I said, expressing my disdain for the thugs. "I'm truly sorry for the trouble." "Hey, what are you standing around for? Don't you understand your situation? Bow down quickly," I exclaimed, urging the thugs to show remorse. "Hey, what's gotten into you, big bro? We don't need to bow down to these guys," one of the thugs muttered, clearly perplexed by the unexpected turn of events. The thugs were visibly confused by the sudden turn of events. It was unforgivable for them to disrespect my dear husband and behave arrogantly, not to mention splashing wine. I decided to enlighten the thugs. "The mafia big brother you were counting on is actually my subordinate, you know? Understand? He's my underling. I'm the boss, not him. It's a shame, isn't it? If only you had a better sense, this wouldn't have happened." "It's not acceptable to splash wine on my husband," I explained. Indeed, the mafia brother they had relied on, Tony, was actually a subordinate loyal to me, not my husband. "Hey, you! You dared to splash wine on the deputy boss. Are you stupid? I told you not to cause any trouble like that," one of the thugs stammered in disbelief. I didn't know," another thug stuttered. The thug who had been barking confidently moments ago was now trembling like a puppy. "Not knowing won't excuse you. Apologize quickly," the mafia brother demanded. "I'm sorry," the thug mumbled. "Speak up." "Well, never mind. I'll hear the whole story later. For now, let's take them to the office, the mafia brother suggested. Huh? The thugs froze upon hearing those words. Then, from the blacked-out box car parked nearby, Tony's subordinates, who had been called upon, began to descend. You guys, teach these thugs some manners. As I said this, the prefects deftly pushed the hoodlums into the car. Tony's brother was left behind at the scene. Tony had expressed a desire to handle his brother personally. His brother looked pale and trembled with fear. He seemed to have realized the gravity of his situation. Underboss, I'm truly, truly sorry. I'll definitely make things right. Well, that's all well and good. But first, could you make sure that thug properly apologizes to my husband? You still haven't apologized? Hurry up and apologize. Tony's brother, looking towards my husband. I'm sorry. Upon hearing those words, my husband smiled. The Tony's brother seemed relieved, thinking he had been forgiven upon seeing my husband's expression. However, when my husband smiled and said, "Is that your idea of an apology?" You better not underestimate the adult world, Tony's brother's expression instantly paled. He quickly fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. I'm so sorry. I'll never do something like that again. Please forgive me. I'll pay you back. I'm sorry. Yeah. An apology means nothing if it's not sincere. Well, I'm done here. I'll leave the rest to my wife and Tony. My husband said, stepping back. Then, Tony proceeded to scold his brother. Hey, idiot. Haven't I always told you? Your actions will inevitably lead to trouble someday. I've always had your back, but this time, I can't do anything about it. I can't forgive you either. The world of honor and loyalty isn't as forgiving as you think. Don't use my name so lightly. Take responsibility for your own actions. Indeed, Tony was right. Big bro, what should I do? Upon hearing his brother's words, the Tony's brother suddenly became scared. Regardless, Tony had already decided on his brother's punishment. Are you sure about this? I'm fine. I've been prepared ever since I entered this world. I'm not the kind of man to run away from something like this. I'm truly sorry. It's the result of me being too lenient. Tony said, apologized once again. I'm okay with it. I haven't been harmed in any way. But I can't just overlook someone splashing wine on my husband. With that, Tony apologized to my husband and me, then ushered his brother into the car and drove away. The world of the mafia is harsh too, huh? I mean, Tony, despite everything, always had a soft spot for his brother. I feel kinda bad about it too. Sorry. Yeah, the mafia is all about honor and loyalty. Loyalty and discipline are strictly enforced. Well, since it's Tony's decision, let's just watch over. Yeah, something like this reminds me of the old days. My parents were originally heads of the mafia. Generations of pure-blooded mafia. I am the daughter of such a mafia family. When I was young, rumors spread quickly at school, and no one would come near me. Even when I finally became a college student and thought I could live a decent life, if anyone who knew me appeared, rumors would spread in no time. I considered working for a regular company after graduating from college, but I was hesitant because it would be difficult if my background was investigated. At that time, I was agonizing over my future and what I should do. Although I felt the desire of my parents and grandparents to inherit the family business to the point of being unbearable, I also wanted to experience a normal life. I agonized over it, and in the end, I chose the path of living as a member of the mafia. It's not that I hated the mafia, and the world that valued loyalty and human emotions suited my personality. But still, I felt lonely. People around me were always cautious around me, and I didn't have any friends I could trust. I had many mafia comrades around me, but no one understood me. I felt lonely anyway. My husband, John, was the one who saved me. I met John when I was just starting out in the mafia. I heard that there was a fight involving thugs on my turf, so I went to check it out, and that's where I found John surrounded by 5 thugs. John had a strong sense of justice even back then, and he seemed to have become a target after protecting someone who was being harassed by thugs. I helped John. At that time, John didn't seem to think of me as a mafia, but it's not so easy for an ordinary woman to drive away 5 thugs. Thank you so much. I owe you one. You're strong, and you're pretty cool. John politely thanked me, even though I was a bit confused about suddenly driving away 5 thugs. Are you hungry? If you'd like, let me treat you to something. John said, seemingly wanting to express his gratitude. From there, we became friendly, and after a year of getting to know each other, we started dating. I hadn't explicitly said that I was a mafia, but as our time together grew longer and our trust deepened, I felt more and more anxious about not telling him sooner. But I was scared. Many people had changed their attitudes or distanced themselves from me as soon as they found out I was mafia. I was sure that if I told him I was mafia, this relationship would end too. While thinking about such things, I was dating John, but one day, during a time when we were together, I was easily exposed as mafia when one of my associates greeted us. Underboss? John, I'm sorry for not saying anything. The truth is, I'm mafia. My family is mafia too. My parents are the leaders of the organization. I'm really sorry for not saying anything. I was afraid you'd leave, so I couldn't tell you. I thought so. I had a feeling you might be since we first met. Sometimes, you seem to be struggling, but you couldn't tell me, right? I'm sorry for making you feel that way. My parents died when I was young, so I'm sensitive to people's feelings of loneliness and sadness. I somehow sensed that you might also be feeling lonely and sad, so I couldn't just ignore it. John. I felt happy to have finally met someone who understood me for the first time. But being mafia is different from being an ordinary person. I was a little scared when I thought that I might eventually cause trouble for John too. John is really amazing, isn't he? He's such a kind person. But I think being with me might cause trouble for him too. So, I choked up. So you want to break up because of this? I don't want that. I know a lot of good things about you. Being mafia doesn't matter. You're you. You've probably had a tough time as the daughter of a mafia, right? You don't have to bear it alone anymore. I'm here for you. John said, gently smiling and embracing me. I don't have parents, and I don't even have close relatives. You're the only one I have, Tony. I want to be with you. At that moment, I vowed in my heart to live with John forever and to cherish him. Yet, I had dragged John into this situation this time. I felt down. Even when I was harassed by thugs, John seemed calm, but he might have been scared inside. If only I had dealt with it sooner. Maybe this incident made me scared too. Maybe I thought it was because he was a mafia husband that I didn't want it. Sally, are you worrying about unnecessary things? John, can you read my mind? No, because I got you involved this time. I was, scared maybe. Not at all. I trust you, so there's nothing to be afraid of when you're by my side. I'm a man too. I've decided to protect you if anything happens to you. John is still the best husband I can admire. He trusts me from the bottom of his heart and understands me the most. And, like how John disposed of his brother out of loyalty and righteousness, I have to protect my precious comrades no matter what. I won't let anyone be alone. That's what I thought. I'm hungry. We couldn't eat French. Yeah, let's go to the next place. And so, we started walking.